Torah time! The weekly portion. What's it all about? It really means something. What can it teach me? Turn it. Everything's in it.
Hi, welcome to Torah time. So this week's portion is called Pinchas. And in Pinchas we have another census. We also have a detailed listing of all the ways that the people of Israel were making sacrifices during the periods of, let's say, Passover and then Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. They were making these sacrifices, and it was very, very detailed how they had to do it. But what I want to talk about is, I want to talk about the census and what happened as a result of the census. Now, we all know that a census is counting of people. So when the Israelites were counted, they counted the men and the boys or young men who were of fighting age. Because remember, the Israelites back then had a lot of battles to fight. Now, according to how many men there were in a specific family, that's how much land they were given. And the land was proportionate to the size of the family. So if you had a small family, your land would be smaller. And if you had a large family, the portion of your land would be larger. Now, there was a man named Seleucids, and he had 5 daughters, but no sons. His 5 daughters went to Moses and Eleazar, the Kohen, and they said to them, "Why is our father's name eliminated just because he had no sons?" And Moses said, "That's a really good question." So Moses took the question to God, and God said that those daughters should get the land. Now you have to understand that during biblical times, women didn't count for much. It's sad but true. The fact that God says that this land should be portioned out to Seleucids' daughters is really a big deal. These women, these girls, they spoke up and somebody listened to them. And that's a great point to make. So what does that mean for us today? You know, sometimes things are done just because they've always been done that way. You know, have you ever said to someone, "Well, why do we do it this way?" Or how come we can't do it that way? And someone will reply to you and say, "Well, we've always done it that way." Well, just because we've always done something a certain way doesn't mean we have to keep doing it, especially if it's not inclusive, fair, and right. You know, now in our world, what's going on is a lot of concern about making good choices, creating good laws for people who don't have a voice, or for people whose voice is not heard as much as maybe somebody else. When we talk about Black Lives Matter, this is a voice that needs to be heard. There are things that need to change in our culture, in our communities, in our laws. And it's so wonderful that the voices now are being heard. We're not saying, "Oh, this is the way it's always been done," because that is wrong. One thing that's amazing about Judaism is we are called to question everything. We don't just settle for what we see or what we hear. What we do is we question. What is that really about? What does that mean to me? Maybe I need to do a little investigation, a little learning, gather some information so that I can make a decision that is based in knowledge and facts. This is a wonderful lesson that we learn from Seleucids' daughters. When we see injustice, we need to speak up. And we need to speak up until we're heard. That is a huge tenet of the Jewish religion. We are to repair the world. We are to seek justice. And we are to make sure that we leave the world a little better than when we got here. All right, that's our Torah time for today. Shalom!
Torah time! The weekly portion. What's it all about? It really means something. What can it teach me? Turn it, everything's in it.